Hey all, welcome to Share Trek. This is Raj here, getting geared up for the new year right now. I had some extra time on hand. I'm almost back to doing my regular schedules, but I had the downtime to have a look at a lot of reading materials and everything. And the question I have in mind, and which I want you guys also to reflect on, is can we game the system even if we were smart? And when I talk about the system, I'm talking about the system wherein we start off in a certain status in life and then accumulate wealth to go to the next level. This also includes the stock market, and this includes every facet of our life in which we can improve ourselves. So the question is, can we game the system even if we were smart? Well, friends, I have put a good portion of my life in pursuit of wealth. I think I have succeeded because I'm better off than my parents were. That is one measure of success I have in my mind. I had to do better than they did. They had lesser opportunities, and the economy was much smaller at that time, and we had new technologies. When I was growing up, we had the IT revolution, we had the internet revolution, more job opportunities, we had globalization. So that definitely helped. I think that I have some money that gives me, I think, a decent quality of life in retirement, I hope. When I got married at the age of 26 and started my new family, I had no money but just a job and a regular paycheck. From then to now, I think my wife and I sure made good progress. I still think that we can't game the system. In today's video, I'm going to explain why it is so. And I would look forward to your feedback, your own success stories, or your own epiphany to either support or disprove this thesis. So let's get started. Welcome back, friends. In 2022, I had put a lot of efforts to avoid trading in the stock exchange and use my understanding of how the system works to produce videos on this channel. Our focus has been genomics, and our tools were technical analysis, which consisted of exponential moving averages, simple moving averages, resistance and support bands, RSI, MACD, candlestick patterns, and divergence analysis at some time. There was a time when I used to look at positive divergence and negative divergence to spot some kind of trend changes. We also did the cup and handle pattern and so many things in the candlestick. So all this frenzy of activity surely gives us a sense of business accomplishment and self-importance in a way, because we are trying to find the optimum trade. A very worthy and rewarding pursuit indeed. If we have succeeded financially, we should pat ourselves for a very different reason. The reason is that we were lucky and had been taking some right decisions, knowingly or unknowingly, to benefit from the system. Not because we knew what we were doing and got the results we aimed for. We got the result we aimed for many times because we succeeded only as we were fortunate to have a position that benefited from the moves of the big players. Fact is that the average retail investor today has a bright red portfolio. At least my portfolio is red. I don't know about yours. I would like to see some comments in the section below to give me an idea of what your portfolio looks like. I don't want you to say how much you lost or how much you gained. Just let me know whether it's in the red or in the green. My conclusion is that it's not possible to game the system to make it big. Many times a glitch in time helps us cross some of these barriers, or when our fortune aligns with those of the top 1%, we get to make a small leap forward. Here are some structural barriers that we need to overcome in order to succeed. The first one is the lopsided power structure. We always hear politicians say your vote is important, your vote is your voice. And after all these years, I beg to differ. Our vote is a seal of legitimacy for those in the top 1% that have bought these politicians, and in whose favor legislations will be written. That is why we always question why our elected politicians do not do what is good for us and make legislation that put us at a disadvantage at the worst, or has nothing to do with our well-being at the best. The big businesses and very wealthy individuals contribute to PACs in the US through opaque entities. The politicians receiving the money for their campaign through these PACs know who has put them there, but we the public do not get to know. The Supreme Court has legitimized this practice. Small dollar donation of $5 or $10 can only go so far when a big donor will not flinch while donating a few billions to a campaign. They may donate to both sides of the aisle to hedge their bets. The politicians use the money to buy advertisements and the talking heads on TV and to do door-to-door campaign. Our small donor funds are just icing on the cake. We elect with great aspirations, but the big money power behind the politicians will use the opposition party and ruling party to promote or suppress legislation based on what works best for their interests. And if our interest was to align with theirs, then we'll definitely gain, because the tide will lift us also along with them. Think about it. What does big business or super wealthy want? They want a big market for their products. They want no regulations so that cost of manufacturing as well as hiring and firing is as low as possible. And they want a large pool of people competing for jobs so that wages can stay depressed. And as long as you're busy working 2 or 3 jobs, you don't have the time to think about the quagmire that you're in. You don't have to time to think about the politics or how you can improve your situation, or for that matter, even protest. And this is accomplished by removing trade barriers so that manufacturing can be done in cheaper countries and selling can be done in expensive countries. The prosperity hollowed out from America and Europe has boosted the fortunes of China. The per capita income and GDP of China, as you see in this particular chart, has grown tremendously since 1990. This is on the back of all the manufacturing that has been outsourced to China. Almost 80% of everything in your home is made in China. If you go and have a look at your electrical outlet, or you look at a mat that you bought, or a microwave vessel you bought, or even the iPhone that you got, everything is going to have made in China stamp. So the people out there have worked really hard, and they have built prosperity for the people in China. Another structural distortion I noticed on moving out of India was the low interest rate regime. In India, we had high interest rates, almost double digits. In fact, some senior citizens and retirees got 1% more interest than others. And if they kept that deposit in local cooperative banks, they got an additional 1% extra. Keeping interest rates low sends a message to people that saving is not a virtue and borrowing is a smart way to be. As a result, we have lifestyles that are funded by debt, mortgage, car loan, credit card debts, and appliance debt. If you carefully look at your credit card terms, you will find that interest is zero. If you miss any payment on time, then the interest is going to be in double digits, and it's really hefty. If you miss a payment, the interest rate is very high and will hit your account for 2 billing cycles, even if you pay it off just a day after when you were supposed to. Low interest rates force people to invest in stock market and real estate to make some gains. The retirees find that if they kept their money in bonds, they're not going to get sufficient for living. And social security nets are being progressively dismantled by the conservatives and their business partners who are funding them. There is no guarantee in the stock market that you will make money, but in real estate, at least you have a piece of land, and in a worse situation, you still have net worth or rental income. Again, you saw during the GFC that that's exactly where the banks decided to really take advantage, and they gave loans to all kinds of people, securitized into mortgage-backed securities and sold it to investors. So as a result, when things went bad, people lost their homes, people lost the shirt off their backs, but the big banks were bailed out. And that's what caused a lot of anger for many people, which we can also see as part of the roots of what happened on January 6th. All this anger gets stored somewhere and it becomes a dark cloud of resentment. And people, when they find things are hopeless, they just try to follow someone or something that promises them that things can be better, and it will not be the same. That's where this concept of woke and this concept of status quo and breaking the status quo and the deep state, all these things come from these kind of situations. You can see this play out in Canada and UK as well. Ordinary people who save very carefully and invest in real estate can improve their net worth dramatically as compared to those who just play in the stock market or continue renting. This also leads to increasing income inequality. As you accumulate more real estate, you can generate more income and collateral for more purchases. Those that keep renting see exactly the opposite effect. So there is now a new class of wealthy people, especially here in Canada, who have got multiple properties, and they are in a position to get rental income and use that to buy other properties, and it's a kind of a cascading effect where their wealth multiplies. As a result of this, what has happened is that young kids who are coming out of college are already saddled with student loan, and on top of that they're not getting sufficient salaries because there is competition from a lot of immigration that's happening, with people coming in with more qualification and more experience who are willing to settle for lesser salaries. So local Canadian students, young people, are not able to get well-paying jobs, so they have either got to go off to US to work there, or they have to take substandard salaries, and most portion of their working life is going towards paying back the student loans, and their parents have to chip in to help them to buy a modest condo and get their feet into the real estate market. And not many parents are able to afford that. There's going to be a generational transfer of wealth from the boomers as they exit, but it's all going to be within the family of those boomers. And if a boomer has got 3 children, then the property that they had is going to be divided into 3 parts. So as a result, there'll be 3 families which will have lesser wealth than before, but they will slightly be better off. But for new immigrants who are entering Canada at this point of time, I really feel bad for them because everything is stacked against them. Most of their salaries is going to go into paying the rent, and if they have children, it's going to go into daycare. So that's the situation it's in. Tax policies have been modeled on the trickle-down effect. The smart billionaire businessman is best equipped to receive financial concessions in form of tax cuts so that he or she will invest in new businesses and create new employment prosperity for the masses. This is far from what actually happens. This widens the income gap. Trickle-down economics has failed us in the last so many decades, and yet we are yet to learn the lessons. It is possibly time to stimulate from the roots. This is where guaranteed income supplement comes in. I cannot imagine any businessman that will not put up a new factory to cater to increased demand for products. When ordinary people are given money, it goes directly into market seeking food, clothing, and shelter. This is sufficient to bring us out of any depression or recession, or as against tax cuts given to corporates. However, that will not happen because we as voters only are a stamp of legitimacy for the powers that be who own the politicians. The corporates will always threaten to go to a low tax regime and move their headquarters there so that they don't pay much tax or keep money in the overseas areas. The US government has been struggling, especially the Biden government has been struggling hard, and they've already got some consensus with G7 nations to make sure that the tax regime is level playing field so that companies cannot dodge taxes. But a lot of work needs to be done in this area. And this is true of most countries as well. The same structure works in most of the developed countries. Now, coming to the stock market, the apes have proved that we are playing in a rigged market. If you don't know who the apes are, just go to Google and just enter ape and AMC stock, and you'll see their whole story. The apes have demonstrably proved that we are playing in a rigged stock market, and they use the AMC stock to teach the hedge fund guys a lesson. The stock market is a place where the house always wins. The stock exchanges are private entities and they are working for maximum profit. They have a super efficient price feed for big investors who can pay for it. These big investors see the market like Neo saw the Matrix in the movie Matrix. If you have not seen the Matrix, just have a look and see how Neo dodges the bullets, and he can hold the bullets, he can pluck off a bullet from the air because everything is frozen while Neo is able to move. While we are frozen in time and space, the big investors have sufficient time to pick out the most profitable deals. If we are lucky, we may have a position that profits due to their move. It may also be that we made mistake by taking a particular position, but if it's aligned with the move that the big players are making, it will give us a lot of profits, and we may think that it was a genius trade on our part. But it's actually because the big whales are moving in a particular direction and we happen to be in that direction. So we were lifted along with that. That is why we cannot consistently have winning trades. We may have a winning trade here and there, but we don't have every trade of ours is not a winning trade. In fact, most of our trades get into trouble and gets in red and stays in red for a long time. However, the casino-like nature of the stock market shows a mirage of some big future trade of a lifetime that we are going to pursue. And in the process, we lose money. We get our money tied up in search of that big trade which is going to bring us the millions. We'll go through a transitional period, in my opinion, where more and more retail investors will enter the stock market if interest rates go back to being low again. If the interest rates stay high, people will keep their money in fixed deposits. And in tax-sheltered accounts, the fixed deposit will give sufficient returns. But if interest rates go back down again, which I suspect it will, because that's in the benefit of the big players, then we'll also see more retail investors getting into the stock markets. Big players will find that old tricks do not work anymore, and novice stock traders will make mistakes, and novice stock traders will not play by the established rules. So all the rules that we have currently will start breaking, and it will not be a consistent market. There will be a process of discovery of new rules of success in the market, and that process will be very turbulent for small investors. And that brings me to the most boring yet true saying of all times, which is a foolproof way to beat the system. It's not timing the market, but time in the market that counts. That's what the saying says. If we keep our portfolio static for a long period of time, we end up accruing gains while not realizing interim loss-making positions. And that is why buy, hold, and prosper will work provided we buy a fundamentally good company and hold it for a long period of time. Does that mean I will stop trading in the new year? Not at all. I'll reduce my trades to high conviction trades, and that too only for the long terms. I won't be doing swing trading. I won't be doing any day trading. I didn't do much of swing trading or day trading in 2022. And I will invest my time doing technical analysis and following the fortunes of genomic companies we have in our watch list, and bring you the news updates and my views on ongoing basis based on the news and FDA news cycles that come out, or any takeover or buyback or any other such news that may come in. That is what makes my life interesting. Please let me know what you think and give me your own theories for consideration. And I would also like to know, what are your New Year's resolution for the next year? How are you going to play the market for the next year? Put it all in the comments below so that we can have a discussion, and I can come back to you with another video to address that. That's all for now. I'm going to start daily videos from 2nd of January 2022. And as you can see, I'm clean shaven. So I'm back to the groove. I'm raring to get started. I'll get back into the routine from 2nd of January. Thanks for indulging me and for supporting this channel. We have had tremendous growth. I have been looking at statistics for YouTube channels. Many YouTube channels took around 2 years to have 1,000 subscribers. We have done that in a year or so. And we have got another 400 plus subscribers already in the last 30 to 40 days. So I'm really grateful to all the supporters for supporting this channel. I'm really glad to have you in this community. Please put in the comments what is it that you look forward to from this channel, so that I can always keep it in front of me. I'll write it down and put it on the board in front of me so that I don't lose track of that and continue to bring you value in 2023 as we go ahead. Guys, have a great day. I'm wishing you all the very best for a happy new year, in case I don't make another video before the new year. Bye for now. Take care.